Hello, everyone. I am Lillie Mae, and welcome to another episode of the Glam.CEO podcast. As you know, my goal is to connect you with dynamic women visionaries from around the world, and today is no different. If this is your first time tuning in to the platform, please head over to theglam.ceo.com to check out the many opportunities we have to advance your business, the upcoming live events, the Essence Festival opportunity for 2025. We invite you to sit with us, okay? So today we have Miss Terry. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about who you are.
Okay, so my name is Tari. I know it looks like Terry, but it's actually Tari. There's an accent on the I. I am an author. I'm a speaker. I am the CEO of Purpose Chasing Academy, which is a company that helps women to craft their vision and to create action steps in order to thrive and live in their purpose. I'm also the founder of Extreme Hip Hop with Phil. And that's pretty much the basis of Tari. Just a little plain old small town girl that's just living a dream.
I love it. And I know you've, had an extensive career as a keynote speaker and business strategist. So can you share like the pivotal moment that led you to establish the Purpose Chasing Academy?
So it's such a story that it probably could be in a movie or a book, but I'm from a small town and I went to college, did the things that normal people do. You go to college, you find your mate, you get married, you have kids, but somewhere along the way I lost myself, and I think it's just because I was just programmed to find a job where I can make a lot of money because I come from a poor background. And so I was in a nonprofit world for about 10 years, the director of operations. And when I had my second daughter, they couldn't bring me back after maternity leave. And I was pretty much devastated. At the same time, my mother was having health issues. My marriage was going down really quickly. And I just went into this spiral of depression, gained about a good 100 pounds or so. I kept a good 100 pounds. I was at 283 and I'm about 5'3.5". So that's morbidly obese is what the doctor said. And in that cycle of me trying to find myself in my health journey, I realized my purpose, and my purpose was really to push others into their purpose, to help them with their vision and to create strategic action steps. And so by me telling my story to the masses, it really helped me to heal. Cheryl Woods, she's one of my coaches, and she always says that your story is about you, but it's not for you. And so that mindset really helped me to pivot and realize that my true purpose is to really impact others in a way where I could bring out the best in them. And that was the pivotal point for me, is to really start to focus in on my health journey and changing something that I really could change at that moment, which was what I put in my mouth every single day and how I moved. So that was a pivotal moment for me.
Yes, I think that oftentimes, especially as women, we can definitely do the comfort food thing a lot. We could really use that as like our coping mechanism when times are challenging, when times get hard, when we're in a season of just discomfort and transition. It's so easy for us to lean into that for our comfort. And before you know it, you're like, oh my goodness, a change has to happen. So I admire you for, leading with that story, because many women, including myself, can definitely relate, like with our weight being up and down based on the season we're in, right? So I know with extreme hip hop, it combines fitness with fun. So how does that, further align with your mission to empower women and promote health?
Yes, so extreme, just to go back, I'm one of eight. So I'm from a small country town. We use food. That's what we do. We use food for comfort, for celebrations, for grieving. And so I come from a family of overweight women. It's five girls, and we all have struggled with our weight, even my brothers. And so when I decided that that's what I wanted to do, we didn't have like high blood pressure, we didn't have cholesterol, diabetes. We were just overweight. But eventually, my mom started to have those health issues. So when I met this guy named Philip Wheaton, who is the creator of Extreme Hip Hop, he had a way of making me feel like I could do anything, right? And it's so difficult when you're overweight. A lot of women feel like you have to get skinny before you can go to the gym, which is kind of like getting well before you see a doctor, right? So I was going to this fitness guy who made me work out. He didn't discriminate if you were small, medium size, obese. Everybody was doing 100 knees. Like we were all getting it in, right? And so when he decided that he wanted to create this new format of step with hip hop music, bringing back that old step, giving it a new feel, I was really encouraging him because at that point I thought he could really change the world with his fitness. And so just working with him and letting him know that he really had something special, because at the time he was just doing it at his gym. It didn't have a name, it wasn't a business. He was just having fun. And so I really just began to work with him and we became partners in the creation of the business Extreme. So from that point, it became my baby as well. We created the business. We went on the road, traveled around doing the classes. And eventually I said, Phil, people are stealing your style. They're taking your swag. We need to figure out a way, to capitalize on everybody loving this business. And so I said, why don't we do a certification program? And he was all like, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, fine, because I knew Phil, like most men. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to stereotype men, but I knew that I couldn't push him into doing anything he wasn't ready for. So I just, in the background, started preparing, created the certification program. And so when he said, T, I think it's time to do this, I said, great. What weekend would you like to do it? Because I had already had it planned. But these were my people. These were women who were insecure in a lot of areas. These were women who were just working in positions just to survive. And so fitness became a way of escape for them, to not only their mental, but their physical. So I related so much to the women that he was touching. When he was saying, don't stop, don't quit, he was not only talking to me, but he was talking to my sister. He was talking to my mother. So it really just evolved into, these were my people and how can I help him give them the best that he has. And so Extreme is part of my journey as well. And from Extreme, I realized I needed to move further and created Purpose Chasing Academy to really, after we help women to realize where they were, now let's start working on your business ideas. Let's start working on this to figure out how you can really elevate your life and be happy while being successful and not just living and existing and being on autopilot all the time. So that's how that kind of all works together. I don't know if that's confusing or not, because it's kind of a funny story or a strange story on how we got here, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome to be able to help people in many facets of life. So not only transform in their health, but then transform as it relates to their purpose, which also is usually attached to a business, right? So I
Absolutely.
definitely understand. And I feel like, mindset is at the foundation of those changes that you talked about, changes in your health, changes in your purpose, your business. So what transformational principle would you share as it relates to our mindset when we don't feel like going to the gym, or we feel like we're in a stuck place, or we feel like, business is just not doing what we desire it to do? We don't, that transitional place that can look different for everyone. But what is like a mindset principle to get people into action?
I think one of the first things that I really try to impress on my clients is that you're not alone. You will always have distractions in your life, good or bad. I tell people all the time, having a baby is a distraction. It's a great distraction, but it's still a distraction from your goals. So the first thing I try to impress on you is that your mind definitely has to be right for the change. You have to embrace that it's going to be uncomfortable, and that the good stuff happens in the change. So once you get your mindset around that is going to be different, it's going to be uncomfortable, because you have to work out some stuff to get to your place, if that makes sense. So I'm a country girl, like I said. And before you can plant your seeds, you have to get in there into the earth, and you have to dig, and you have to pick up the weeds. You have to toil that soil, right? And so that's that mindset work that you have to do before you can even start moving in a direction and figuring out what your true purpose is. women, we get bombarded so much with what we should be doing, who we should be helping, what business we should be going into, that somewhere along the way we lose what we love to do. We lose what we're passionate about. We just become good at stuff. And women are good at getting good at some stuff because we can figure out things. If it's a problem, we're going to figure out how to make that thing work. And so the first, I'll have to say the most imperative um, thing that I would tell someone when they're starting off is to understand that you're going to have to do some uncomfortable work in order to get to your change, and be okay with that. And just like you said, working out, when I work out, I don't want to do 30 pounds. I want to stick with the 20 pounds because I know I can do it. It's not hard. I can get it up and get it down 100 times. But when my trainers say we're gonna push you a little T and give you 45 pounds, I'm like, no, I already have told myself I'm not going to, I can't do it. I'm already in my mindset, I can't do it. And it's just like that. You have to do it to see where you're at. Even if you can't push it all the way up, you have to see how far you can push it so that you know what to work on to get to that 40. And that's just the same thing with your purpose, with your mindset. You have to get uncomfortable and tell yourself, I may can't do it, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna start pushing until I get there. I'm gonna come back the next day and push it some more. So just to start realizing it's uncomfortable, but the change is you have to get to that uncomfortableness to get to that change.
Yes, I totally agree. Because to embrace the discomfort that's a part of any process, we really have to push past the resistance in our mind, because
Yes.
there's resistance there to saying, I don't feel like it. There's procrastination, like I'll start tomorrow. There's, excuses like you said, like, oh, I want to lose weight before I get to the gym. Like we come up
Right.
with so many things in our mind that will stifle us. It's very important that, we make the decision to push past that resistance and embrace the discomfort that comes with change and growth for
Yes.
sure,
Yes.
especially in fitness, because me and the gym just don't get along. So I
It's all of us.
have to push myself so often when I don't feel like it. But I know you're also a mom and you have, a very active career. So how do you manage the balance with being a mom, having a career, and then also maintaining your health and wellness?
I would say I actually don't like to use the term balance. I feel like we're never balanced, but we can have harmony. It's always going to be something that requires a little bit more of our attention at the time based on our goals, based on the vision. And so having a nice harmony and having a nice support system and having very clear boundaries is the key. So, for instance, you said, I right now, I have a daughter who keeps me on my toes. So you keep me in your prayers. She's 15 years old.
Mhm.
But that baby have me running most of the time. And so sometimes I have to say, I can't do this because she requires a little bit more of my time. So as long as you understand your boundaries and what's important to you, and that's being honest with yourself, and that's sometimes hard because we want to help everybody, we want to do everything, but we have to understand and be honest with our capacity. We sometimes overestimate our capacity, and we don't realize that that is not helping anyone when we are stretching ourselves too thin. So I would definitely tell people, especially when you're trying to balance, mom life, church life, friendship life, all these ships that we have. We just have to keep everything in harmony. And that's by being honest with yourself, creating very healthy boundaries, and learning that no is a complete sentence. It's just a complete sentence. You don't have to explain why I can't go out. You don't have to explain why I can't do this. It's just no. And you don't have to say it mean, but just, no, no, thank you. And that's a complete sentence. We want to over explain. Just no. So I love the term harmony because I always feel like it's never going to be balanced. Something's all, but if it's like this, that's when we start to have those problems with depression, anxiety, being overwhelmed, procrastination, when it's like this, when it's so far away. But if you just have harmony where it flows together, you understand what needs you now more than what needs you then that's where the key, that's where the music, the beautiful symphony happens, when you have that harmony in your life.
I like that. I like that word a lot, harmony instead of balance. And I feel like a big part of also having that harmony is being anchored in our faith. I feel like that's a very important part. And so this is a question I've just been asking a lot of people in this season. And I feel like it helps other people to hear the answer that others are having. And
Yeah.
this question is, what is God revealing to you this season? Because I know that changes from season to season. Like he might be giving you a particular word this season, a word of intention. He might be giving you specific instruction. But what would you say that God is revealing to you this season?
Oh, girl, that is such a that country just came out real good just now. But he has revealed so much in this season. And it is just not one thing. For me, vision has always been purpose was first, the word that he was giving me all the time to understand your purpose and to understand that if you have a purpose, then I'm going to make sure that you are successful, not just successful where you feel good and you have joy, but financially successful, right? Because I feel like if he gave you an assignment, he's going to make sure that you're taken care of. And if you're honoring him, taken care of well. But in this particular season, it's all about the vision and that scripture that without vision, my people will perish. It's the exact same thing when it comes to your purpose. If you don't have a vision with your purpose, then it will perish because you have to be able to understand that your vision requires steps as well as trust, as well as moving forward. Like, I don't know exactly how I'm going to get to the place that God has given me, the vision that He's given me, but I know I can't sit still. I know that I have to ask Him to give me the steps to go along with that vision. I have to always to keep moving, even when roadblocks and, like I said, distractions come. I have to continue to move towards that vision because if I understand the vision of, and if I have the vision, then even when I pivot away from it, if I know where I'm going, I can always pivot back. But if I don't know my vision, then how can I redirect myself to my back to it, right? And so in this season, it definitely is about trusting the vision that he has given me, to just trust it. You may not understand all the steps, but to trust it. You may not understand where you're going or how you're going to get there exactly, but trust the vision that I gave you. And if you trust me, I'll give you the right steps. So that's definitely what he's talking and saying to me, not just with my business, but even with my health, even with my children, even with the committees I'm working on at church, to trust the vision that I'm giving you and to stay in alignment with that. And no matter where the roadblocks come, you pivot back to the vision I gave you.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Trust the vision. And the key word you said in that for me was alignment, because that was my word of intention for this year,
Mhm.
alignment. Because I
Yes.
do feel like when we get into that proper alignment, it allows us to trust the vision because we, are now not thinking it's within our own power and works, but it's within his power. So we take the steps he tells us to and let him handle the rest. And
Amen.
so, I'll answer the question as well. So you're not just out there, but I feel like what God has been revealing to me this season is that I don't have to toil for the blessings, because I
Mm.
feel like oftentimes as ambitious women, we're conditioned to work very, very hard. They had something called no sleep at one time, team no sleep.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been on that team. I need my
Ever.
sleep. But God is showing me that he can do more with my less. Like he is made strong in my weakness, so it doesn't fall on me to make the whole vision come into fruition. But I don't have to toil for it. All I have to do is get in alignment with him and get in order with the steps he wants me to do my part, and then let him handle the rest. So I feel like what he's revealing to both of us in different ways, is a level of harmony in both of the things, right?
Absolutely. I love that too. And that's so key. And one of the things that I try to tell my clients is that no matter what your religion is, I know what mine is, I know who my faith is in, but you have to have something that can ground you because this life is not easy. This entrepreneurship, this living in your purpose, it's not easy. And if you don't have something to ground yourself, to come back for the strength, to come back and say, I just want to give up. I need you right now. It's definitely, for one, I don't think it's going to work. It's not going to last, but it definitely makes that journey easier when you have that grounding. And I promise he sends people to you that you need at the right time and the right place and in the right spaces if you are following his vision for your life. He definitely does.
Exactly. And the key phrase you said there was his vision, because
Mm,
oftentimes we have our vision and it conflicts with God's vision. And then we
yes.
feel maybe disappointment, or we feel this
Mhm.
level of comparison to what's going on in other people's journey. But
Yeah.
it's like we have to get in alignment with what his vision is for our life. And that is where the true harmony comes, when we
Absolutely.
can accept that and tap into that and flow with that. So didn't
Yes.
mean to take us to church, but you joined me in it. I
Hey,
appreciate you.
hey, it's a Southern girl now. That right there, I can talk about that for a long time.
But I know that, you've definitely, achieved great success in your work. You've, been recognized, you've, been a speaker and all of those great things. So what do you feel like is next for you? Like, what are your current goals and how do you plan to make additional impact in the future?
So right now, I'm really, besides my 15-year-old who is keeping me quite busy. She is part of my vision and my strategic plan, because every part of your life, and I deal with 4 areas: spiritual, mental health, and relationships. And that's how I keep myself in harmony, making sure they're not off balance. But right now, I feel like that I'm being led to truly touch as many women and as I can, because I was women. I was that woman who was so lost in being good, and if I had to be stopped in my track, and it was that they couldn't bring me back from a business that I helped to build. But sometimes when you're off track, it takes that to bring you back. And I just want to be here for women to help them navigate their way. So one of the things that is being dropped, actually being released September the 12th, is my new book, and it's called Extreme Vision, of course. And in this book, it's a memoir combined with a guide that will help me, in my opinion, meet more women where they are than I could by speaking or my coaching program. But it is not only talking about my journey and my strengths and the downfalls and the pitfalls I've had, but it also have in here action steps, as well as reflection for you to do as you're reading, and then just some more coaching to help you move along the way. And so my desire is that you can grab this book, even if you can't afford a coach or you can't afford to do different programs. You can at least grab this book and start your journey on living your life in purpose with the vision that you have been given. So that's where I am right now, is really focusing on reaching as many women as I can through Extreme Vision, the book, as well as a coaching program, and steady working with the fitness industry, because it saved my life. I've kept off, not just lost, but I've kept off over 100 pounds.
Wow.
And that's the key, because we can lose weight any kind of way. There's always that, how does she lose weight? And how did they lose? I don't care how you lose weight, because some people need some things, but it's how can you keep it off? And it's all about your mindset. And so you have to start somewhere and getting your life on track. And for me, it was fitness. It may not be that for you, but for me, it was fitness. So I'm gonna continue to work with my tribe of women who just need me at those places, and I'm hoping to be able to create avenues for people to reach me any kind of way.
I love it. So definitely share your website so that they can purchase the book, as well as your social media so they can follow you and stay connected that way.
Absolutely. So it is Terry Donaldson on all social media platform, and it looks like Terry. So it's TeriDonelson, and the website as well is www.terrydonaldson.com. So just put that in there, and you should be able to find me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again for taking the time to chat with the Glambitious Network. I think it's a very inspirational story that you have, about how you were in such a rough season, but you were able to birth purpose out of it, books, businesses, speaking opportunities. And I think that your journey is going to bless so many women in the future as well. So thank you again for tapping in with us. Y'all make sure that you connect with her on social media. I'm sure it's very inspiring in the fitness element as well, because we need that inspiration to keep going
Yes.
to the gym and keep, working on our health and wellness, as well as our purpose, as well as our business. So make sure you follow her on social media, order a copy of her book, not just for yourself, but for a friend friend. I think this is a great season to start blessing our friends with things that matter, not clothes, not purses, but things that are going to transform them. So my challenge to the viewers, buy a copy for yourself and a copy for your friend. All right. Again, if this was your first time tuning in to the Glambitious podcast, you can connect with us at theglam.ceo.com. Join our email list. And you can also follow me on Instagram at I am Lillie Mae. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Glambitious podcast.